Hi. So today we're going to talk about the 5 money habits that are keeping you poor. All right. So keep watching to the end so you know what not to do. Number one is not keeping track of your income and expenses. And this is a problem because if we don't know what's broken, how can we fix it? If you are stressed out about money, I want you to track it. Create a budget and really pay attention to your money. This will give you insight into your actual monthly spending habits or earning power. You might think that you have a spending problem, but actually, if you budget, maybe you look at your budget and you notice that it's actually not your spending that's out of control. Your spending is efficient and as minimal as can be. But you notice that maybe it's actually a earning problem. You're not earning enough money to cover your living expenses. So this is why it's important to track your money and know where your money is coming in from and going out to, because then that will give you a clear, honest vision of what is going on with your finances. And I get it. When you don't feel great about your money, that's the last thing you want to look at, right? So let's just take away the embarrassment or the shame and the judgment. Be kind to yourself. And let's look at this with curiosity as an experiment. We just want to know, like, oh, okay, let's keep track of our money this month and just see where it goes, how it goes. And then let's review and tweak where we want things to go next month. So if we approach it with this sense of curiosity, I think that might make you feel a little more empowered, and it might feel a little bit more fun and less restrictive. So try that. Let's get into number two. So, number two, the money habit that's keeping you poor is this idea of not paying yourself first. So, when your paycheck comes, what do you typically do? You typically put it to bills, right? Whether it's your mortgage or your rent or your health insurance or eating out and food and the rest. The idea of paying yourself first is when that paycheck comes through, you want to set aside 10% immediately to savings. You just want to set that aside, set it and forget it so you don't have to think about it. And I know when you are living paycheck to paycheck, you're thinking, that's impossible. I barely have enough to just live off of. But the thing is, when I was living paycheck to paycheck in my tiny San Francisco apartment, there are non-negotiables in life, like rent or health insurance or whatever it is for you. For me at the time, my non-negotiables, I didn't even think about it, was setting aside my money to the 401k provided by the company, because why wouldn't I? They are matching my money. So that's like free money. And number two was health insurance. I need health insurance in case something went wrong. So those two things are just pulled out of my paycheck. And I didn't even think about it. Over time, you will get used to what the number at the bottom of your pay stub. You're not going to look at, oh no, like I don't have this money. You're not going to be thinking like that. You're like, okay, that was gone. Like now I have this remaining and now let's go pay my bills. So it's the same idea with paying yourself first. If you just automate that for yourself, like let's say you set it up so that every time you get a deposit, you have an automatic transfer of 10% to your savings account. You set it and forget it. And now you've paid yourself first, which leads me to my next point of number three is you are on the extreme sides of savings. And what I mean is you either have no savings or you're on the opposite end of you have too much savings. And I know you're like, Stephanie, what does this mean? How can you have too much savings? I think given my background, daughter of immigrants and first generation, when they came here, the idea of safety and comfort is in the savings. I never heard the word investing growing up. I never knew about that until much later in life. So for me, all I heard was save, save, save. The thing about save, save, saving is if you are saving with no actual goal, like that money is not earmarked for something, whether it's your emergency fund or whether it's for gifts or a vacation or something that you're planning, ultimately that money is not working for you. And I think long time ago, I saw this guy was talking about his money and he was saying, you work so hard for your money to earn that dollar. So when you get that dollar, why don't you make that dollar work for you? What he means is when you get that dollar needs to be put to work. It needs to be either paying your debt down or being invested so it's making money for you or paying your bills down. It needs to be doing something actively. And so if you are on the extreme where you are constantly saving, but there is no purpose for that money, that's a loss too because you are losing out on earning potential and or paying down your debt or whatever it is. So that's not great. And then on the other extreme of you don't have any cushion, you have not built up a savings and you're like, I just can't. I don't have extra money. I get it. I've been in that situation. But the thing is, if you want to improve your financial situation, you want to build up that savings account because what that savings account does for you is it just gives you this peace of mind and this safety and this comfort with money. If you don't have that savings account and you are feeling stressed and desperate, you have limited choices and you behave very differently than if you have a savings account and that safety net. Just think about it. When you are feeling that desperation or that stress or that constraint, you're not going to make the greatest choices or decisions in that place. Building up this savings account is for that peace of mind, for the freedom to have a choice when it comes to that time that you need that money. Number 4 is paying for convenience when you can't afford it. So I think in this day and age, with the creation of so many things like DoorDash, Instacart, all these types of things, it may have become the norm for you to Instacart yourself groceries this week. You're like, I'm too tired. I'm just going to Instacart. Well, let me tell you something. Instacart is marked up, 1, and 2, I get it. There are times where that's super helpful and a must do. So for example, for me, I will Instacart. Actually, I really never Instacart. I think one time I've done it when I was sick and I had the kids at home and I had no food, something like that. But that's one of those things where you don't realize everything adds up. DoorDashing food, the Instacarting of your groceries. So yes, when you are doing that, you kind of build that into your lifestyle. So you're like, oh, I get home from work so late. I'm so tired. I'm going to just DoorDash. What if instead you picked up the food on your way home from work, right? What if you had the foresight to plan ahead and as you're leaving work, you call in the order to the restaurant and you pick it up along your way home? Versus when you get home, you're so hungry, you're so tired, you're like, oh, okay, I'm just going to DoorDash something while I'm showering. We're just paying for convenience, and yet we can't really afford it. But in your head, you don't even notice it because it's a part of the culture. Your friends do it. Everyone does. It seems like everyone does it. They're like, oh, I'm just going to DoorDash that. Or I Instacarted yesterday. But like I said, there is a time and place to pay for convenience. So don't get me wrong. That is not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about if you are living paycheck to paycheck, or if you are constantly wondering how you're going to pay this bill, then you are paying too much for convenience. And lastly, number 5 is the lifestyle creep. As you make more money, you tend to spend more money. You tend to want nicer things. You start to just kind of pick up things here and there. it just creeps in and you don't realize it. So this is when people talk about like living below your means. But I will caution this with, don't cut out everything that brings you joy, but also understand that there is a cost beyond just monetary. So if you are like, I cannot give up my daily $8 lattes and $15 lunches and DoorDash and my weekly mani and pedi. I mean, there will be choices made. So, yes, financially, that is probably burning a hole in your pocket. It goes back to not having that cushion. And when you don't have that cushion, you are just constantly in this mode of anxiety and stress when it comes to thinking about your money. That's another side that you don't think about in the moment, because in the moment you are enjoying the lifestyle, the wants. But ultimately, you're going to have to live with the price, whether that's the financial, whether that's the emotional stress that comes along. And so I want you to really be honest with yourself and keep that in check. So let me know, what do you think is your issue with money from this list of 5 things? And if you have any questions, let me know in the comments. If you're in your 20s and you're curious about the 5 things I wish I didn't do in my 20s, I'll link to that video above. If this was helpful, please like and subscribe and share with a friend. Thanks. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.